Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to go down to the Netherlands, so it's my first Dutch beer review for you in quite some time actually, and we're going to go to the city of Utrecht and have a visit to Brouwerij Maximus, who are from the Meern suburb, and this beer, the Violante, as far as I can tell is their spring seasonal beer, so it's meant to be a sort of golden spring ale type beer, but we'll soon see when we get on to the tasting. So as is usual with my reviews then, I'll take you through a very kind of brief history of the brewery, just a minute or two. But if you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. The brewery website's in the description for you below, along with a link to my other reviews that I will hopefully add from these guys in the very near future. So as I mentioned to you, Brouwerij Maximus is based in the Meern suburb of Utrecht, and it was originally a separate town, but the Meern suburb was actually claimed by Utrecht during its expansion over, I think it's since the Second World War, it's really become part of Utrecht. So the brewery is located close to Maxima Park near the De Broers Orchard in a building that's shared by a woodwork school. And if you go and read a little bit about the brewery, the kind of relationship with the woodwork school is very cool. A lot of the furniture and fittings and things were actually made in the woodwork school, and both of these companies have a really cool kind of community outlook. They allow the local community to come in and learn skills and do little apprenticeships with both companies, up to the point where you can be helping the brewer, serving customers or learning woodwork skills. So very, very cool little operation they've got on. The De Meern suburb apparently is quite it's a sort of middle class suburb, if you like, a lot of working people and things like that, and there was apparently a lack of places for them to kind of meet their friends and stuff. So this is why Brouwerij Maximus are now very, very successful, because a lot of people really like it, and they do a lot of different things like fruit smoothies and shakes and stuff. So it's not all just about the beer. The idea is that it's a kind of community hub, so very, very cool little business to go and read about. As I say, check out the brewery website. But to tell you about the actual brewery itself, the brewery is owned by three guys, Marcel, Ewald and Jan. So Marcel was an avid home brewer, and he continually expanded his hobby. He started out brewing in his student room, but he now, of course, has a full brewery at the Maximus brewery, a full brewing kit, I should say. But Ewald and Jan actually used to work at the Café Belgique in Utrecht as managers before they went on to found Brouwerij Maximus with Marcel. And Belgian beer cafes are actually really, really popular in the Netherlands. It's Dutch craft beer isn't anywhere near as prominent as Belgian beer, if you like, but it's a shame because the Dutch beers I've tried really have been excellent. So hopefully over the next few years we'll see the kind of Dutch beers going through the same kind of process that's happened in America and New Zealand and things like that, and they will hopefully become really, really prominent. There's already a few really good Dutch craft breweries, but that's a story for another day. But anyway, to tell you the other beers that you can get from these guys, you have the Pandora, which is one of their most popular ones. This is the English Pale Ale, the Saison, which they describe as being a Valenish blonde, the Brutus, which is an American amber, there's the High Hops, which is an IPA, and they also have Stout 6 and Stout Age, and that is their core range. And they also have a number of seasonal and one-off brews, and as I say, check out the brewery website and you will find out a little bit more about those. So anyway, let's get on to this beer itself then. This guy is a 6% golden ale, or kind of spring ale. It's their spring seasonal beer as far as I can tell. Let me just bring up the camera and let you have a little quick look at the artwork on this one. From what I remember in the shop that I went to in Leiden to pick up this one, all of the artwork on their beers is a kind of similar style to this. I think it's really cool, really nice modern art one. It's just a plain bottle cap on this. It does say on the backs, it says brewed by at Maximus Brouwerij Utrecht, the Netherlands. Just says ingredients: water, malted barley, hops, etc. Just has it all in different languages actually. It doesn't have a little blurb about the beer or anything, so I guess without further ado, let's get this guy out and get on with the tasting. There you can see on the side actually the sort of Brouwerij Maximus little symbol and things like that. Really, really nice looking beer, so we'll get it out and get on with the tasting. So as you can see, nice little smoky opening there as we get it out. Can't really smell anything off it straight off as we're kind of pouring it out into the glass. Must be a very kind of mild aroma, this guy, but we'll soon see when we give it a taste. So as you can see, it's poured a really nice kind of, oh, you can actually smell it now. You can the initial smell I'm getting off this guy is a kind of banana yeasty thing out of the bottle, but smells very, very fresh and very, very juicy. So as you can see with the pour, it's got a nice kind of half finger of a sort of frothy, kind of bumpy. That's a very, very white head on that, I'd say. If I put my fingers behind it, you can see there's not a lot of transparency. I'll just shift the light so you can actually see the colour of this one properly. But you can see it's a really nice kind of rich, kind of fruity orange colour actually. A sort of definitely a kind of bright golden orangey amber colour there. Looks really, really nice. There's a little bit of visible carbonation, but Not too many bubbles and things like that. Some big bubbles just going up towards the bottom of the head. So let's give it a wee smell and see how we get on. Yeah, it's got a big kind of yeasty aroma. It's got that typical sort of Belgian ale smell to it actually. The aroma itself is quite mild, but the main component that kind of punches its way through really is the kind of sweet bready yeast that's typical of a Belgian ale. So you've got a nice big kind of white bread, sweet yeasty note. I could maybe say that it is a sort of banana yeast, that kind of typical Weizen style, but if you sugar it up a little bit, you start to get more from the hops on this guy. There is a little bit of kind of orange in there, a sort of orangey citrus. And you can pick up just a little bit of kind of sweet, almost biscuity caramel in there. But the main thing that comes out of this guy really is a kind of lemony citrus, kind of grassy and aromatic hop, which is typical of a spring seasonal beer. Usually these beers tend to be more of a sort of grassy, aromatic-y kind of hop that you get out of these beers, so it definitely has that. As I always say, just take a little bit of time to smell your beer, because it's always an interesting thing to go from aroma to taste, which is really nice. So without further ado, this is the Violante 6 from Brouwerij Maximus in Utrecht in the Netherlands. Cheers. Now that's really nice actually, very fresh. That's the first kind of taste I'm getting out of this guy. Yeah, there's a really nice kind of fresh mouthfeel to this one. Quite a bit of those yeasty flavours that you're getting in there, they just kind of blanket the tongue very lightly. I'm actually getting a good little bit of biscuity malt coming into this one, and that you've got a nice mix between that sort of yeasty character from the beer and a nice slightly biscuity malt feel on this one. Yeah, it's really nice and really fresh, this one. So as I say, you're getting just a slight blanket of that yeasty character. The yeast is a lot less prominent in the taste I found than it comes out in the aroma. It's very kind of subdued in the feel, and then you've got this nice biscuity malt in the middle of the mouth just over that. One thing I read about this brewery is that they do, for a Dutch or a Belgian kind of stylish brewery, they do have very low alcohol contents, and I said this guy was 6%, and that's quite unusual for that particular region of the world. Usually they're like 7, 8, 9, 10% and things, but this is, from what I could gather with the styles of their beer, these guys brew a little bit of a Belgian style, but more of a kind of American craft beer, and you can definitely get that sort of feel from this guy, but it's a really nice, really fresh beer, this guy. So yeah, really nice, lightly yeasty covering on the palate, with the nice sweet biscuity malts on top. But around the edges of the tongue, you're getting a nice grassy and aromatic feel to this one. It's got a nice and dry character just around the edges of the palate. Really enjoy that. So yeah, it's actually got a nice kind of oily mouthfeel as well that helps bring out a little bit of the kind of lemony and orangey citrus that's in this one. Yeah, it's really nice. This beer, I would say that it doesn't have any particular element of the flavour, any single element that kind of pushes its way through. This beer is more of a blend of 4 really nice flavours. As I said, you've got a nice kind of mild yeasty blanket on the beer, some nice kind of sweet caramelly malt, sort of caramel biscuity malt that just blankets the tongue, and around the edges you're just getting that nice mix of citrusy, grassy and aromatic-y hop character. Into the aftertaste, it's really a little bit of the kind of caramel and the nice aromatic-y dryness on the edges of the tongue. That's what's really coming out in the aftertaste. So in terms of the mouthfeel with this guy, I'd say it's light to mid-bodied. You've got a nice oily character to it as well, which really pushes the hop flavour of the beer. You feel that kind of nice oily bubble just going towards the front of the tongue, but at the same time you've got a nice dry and bitter character just right around the edges of the palate there. Very nicely done, I would say. The carbonation It does have a little bit of a tingle to it, even though you can't really see it, but it helps bring out the kind of aromatic-y dryness of the beer, so the mouthfeel of it is really, really good and really well done as well. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review, my first Dutch beer review in quite a little while. As always, please let me know on the in the comment section your own thoughts on this beer. I would recommend this to those of you who like a nice florally and aromatic beer. It's very easy drinking as well. You could session quite a few of these very, very easily, so if you want a nice sessionable kind of aromatic-y dry beer for the spring, definitely give it a go. And if those of you who are in Utrecht, go and check out the Brouwerij Maximus if you haven't already. But as usual, thanks for watching my beer reviews. Let me know in the comments section below, and please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. I hope you've enjoyed this Dutch beer review, and I will get back to you soon with another one. Cheers.